Fairfield, and Westchester counties.
From the Darien Ice Rink, it's time for high school hockey on the HAN Network. A very good Monday evening to you, everyone. I'm Rob Adams as we start 2016 with live play-by-play right here on the HAN Network, along with our entire crew. John Kovach alongside of me, Frank Granito at ice side. Tonight, we've got the Darien Blue Wave hosting the Notre Dame of West Haven Green Knights. For the Green Knights, they are 4-1 on the season. They lost to Xavier on Saturday, 5-2. And for the Blue Wave, a perfect 4-0 to start the season. As we greet you from the dance studio above the Darien Ice Rink, a place that John Kovach and I, well, it feels like we've called home many times, and sometimes it's nice to just walk in here. It does there's a homey feeling to it.
There is. You come in, it's kind of like watching a game in your living room.
So now we've got a good game tonight, number 1 and number 4, at least if you go by the Hartford Current. That's what their rankings are coming into this game, John. The Blue Wave at number 1 on the year, and I think deservedly so.
I think so. If you look at the early season CIAC playoff rankings, and it's very early to look at that, Notre Dame currently 3rd in Division I, Darien 4th. Northwest Catholic tops the rankings. Xavier, which has handed Notre Dame its only loss, ranked number 2.
The Blue Wave right down below us, but you're getting a look right now at Notre Dame of West Haven, decked out in the green tops and bottoms with the gold helmet. Very nice, classic-looking uniform. In fact, for both squads, we'll get a look at the Blue Wave in just a moment. They're in the white and the blue, of course, as they would wear with Wave on the front. By the way, this is a very quick aside, this being the home of the New Canaan Rams also, I saw the new block sweaters that they're going to wear. There's one right down, of course, blue streak right down below us. Gorgeous sweaters.
I didn't get a good look at those. Now I'm tempted to put the headset down.
They almost have a hint of Ottawa Senators to them. Ooh. Really nice. All right, that aside, let's get back to this game. And look, if Notre Dame of West Haven can find a way to get through the defense and get on net, we've got a game tonight. And I think that's what we're going to try to find out, is if Darien is this good, this special, or can Notre Dame of West Haven play with them?
We saw this Notre Dame team in our first game of the season against New Canaan, 4-2 win for Notre Dame of West Haven. Their strategy then was crash the net, throw pucks in, crash the net, and it eventually paid off for them. Will we see that tonight?
Very good question, and one man who can answer it for us is down at ice side. We bring in Frank Granito. Frank, good evening.
Thanks, Rob. Great to be down here. Big thing for Notre Dame of West Haven tonight. How do they contain the Hazelton, Rahman, and Mullen line of Darien? They're averaging almost 3 goals a game, and this is a team right now that has outscored their opponents 26-1 over the first 4 games. They're coming off of a pair of 8-0 victories over New Canaan and Norwalk McMahon. So the defensive units for Notre Dame of West Haven will be on call tonight and will really have to step up.
What do you think Notre Dame has to do to break through that defense, Frank?
Well, we watched this Darien team just last week against New Canaan, and we saw how well they play in the neutral zone. They shut down the transition game and force you to constantly regroup, and if you're ineffective with the breakout, they'll turn turnovers into odd man rushes. If Notre Dame wants to have success, they have got to get the puck deep into Darien's zone and play on the forecheck, and I think you need to play a physical game. This is the defending state champion, the current number 1 team in the state. Don't be intimidated. Come out and play up to your potential as the preseason number 4 team in the state.
Can Notre Dame be physical with Darien?
I think they can. They've got a couple bigger bodies on their side. While Darien is also one of the bigger teams in the state, they pride themselves this year, unlike last year's team, on their speed. They feel that they can get out in transition and take advantage of odd man opportunities. Notre Dame has got to be physical on their D in their own zone and not allow the quick breakout passes or stretch passes, as we saw several times against the Rams.
What do the Rams take out of beating their arch rival 8-0?
Well, I think what the Wave looks at that as, it's a rivalry game a lot of times that the stats don't come into play. You don't really read into the numbers. You all leave it all on the field, or leave it all on the ice for that matter. I think Darien really put an exclamation point on having their mindset on repeating this year, and at least leaving a statement that they are the #1 team in the state and they intend on staying there.
Back up here, thanks Frank. We'll check in with you in a little bit, and great stuff from both of you guys as we get closer to getting this one going here. I think we've got something good here tonight.
I can't wait. I'm really excited here. You got a crossover game, the FCIAC and the Southern Connecticut Conference. You got 2 top 10 teams. I really want to drop the puck. And we're going to do that.
You're going to go down there and drop it yourself?
I'll go drop the puck. Just ask me. I might fall down, but
you and I.
That's neither here nor there.
You and I both. All right, as we get closer to this game, and a lot of good hockey still to be played.
Oh, we're so early in the season.
And yet, it's over the next week or two, we're really going to start to figure things out.
Yeah, and I think I want to talk with Frank about this later. Is this when we start to see the distancing? We start to see it settle out as to who's up top, who's down below, who might have started slow but can still save a season. These 2 teams, nothing to worry about. These guys are in gear. Yeah,
they should be in gear, and as John said, we've already seen them once, and they certainly were an impressive squad against New Canaan. I wasn't sure how impressive off that night, and I feel like tonight's a chance for both these teams to prove some things.
Well, Notre Dame coming off, how do they rebound from that first loss of the season? That was 5-2 to Xavier in the West Haven Christmas tournament. But they opened up with that 4-2 win over New Canaan. That was here on the HAN network. Then wins 3 straight, 1-0 over Simsbury, 3-1 over Notre Dame of Fairfield, 4-0 over Ridgefield, which is a team we expected big things from. Darien's as close to perfectly perfect as you could be. 1 goal allowed in 4 games.
I'm absolutely fascinated by what is going on with the Ridgefield Tigers coming off, as you said, a loss at the hands of West Haven. So that's a story that we have to keep an eye on and see how they develop as well. With all that said, we will take a timeout from here at the Darien Ice Rink, and then we'll come back. We'll get it all started. We'll grab some starting lineups, and we'll drop the puck. Looking forward to this one. #1, #4 in the state. The Darien Blue Wave, the Notre Dame of West Haven Green Knights are coming up, and it's all yours right after this. You're watching the FCIAC on the HAN network.
Denali is your outdoor retail destination in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. For the last 21 years, we have carefully selected clothing, footwear, and gear from a variety of the best outdoor brands, such as the North Face, Patagonia, Vineyard Vines, UGG, Merrell, GoPro, New Balance, and many more. Our stores have a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you with all of your running, hiking, and cold weather needs, and in discovering all things outdoorsy and awesome. Visit us in the Westfield Trumbull Mall or online at DenaliOutdoor.com.
Here at the Darien Sports Shop, we are very excited about our newly redesigned men's department. Gentlemen, if you're shopping for work, weekend, or wedding, we've got the latest styles and trends inside our spacious new department just for you. We have vast selections from Peter Millar, Vineyard Vines, Johnny O, Duckhead, Barber, and so much more. And you can even walk out of the store in the new Wolverine 1,000-mile men's boot. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at dariensport.com.
Remind you of the last time you went into a car dealership? Experience stress-free waters at Pamby Chrysler Jeep Dodge and Ram and find out how easy buying a car really is.
At Innovative Health and Rehabilitation, we provide an advanced level of care to resolve symptoms and minimize recurrence. Our experienced professional staff design and implement effective plans to return individuals to their prior level of function. We specialize in the treatment of orthopedic and sports injuries, pre-post surgical rehabilitation, performance enhancement, strength and conditioning, vestibular rehabilitation, balance and gait training. A convenient location and flexible scheduling is available to accommodate your needs. We look forward to providing you with a comprehensive level of care to meet your rehabilitation goals. We are also affiliated with 3 high schools, Norwalk, West Hill, and Stamford. Our certified athletic trainers cover the athletic events at the high schools to prevent, treat, and educate student athletes and injuries. Our certified athletic trainers also take part in the New Canaan Youth Football Program. Reach us at 650 West Avenue in Norwalk. Call us at 203-852-9903. Innovative Health and Rehabilitation.
Discover the Wilburton Inn in Manchester, Vermont, a 30-acre historic estate featuring a turn-of-the-century mansion with elegant inn guest rooms and 7 large private vacation homes, perfect for ski vacations and holiday celebrations. Special offer on select rooms and houses. Stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free through Christmas Day. CNN has called the Wilburton one of the top 8 mansion hotels in America. Call 802-362-2500 or visit wilburtoninn.com for more information.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday right here on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Back at the Darien Ice Rink with John Kovach, Frank Granito, I'm Rob Adams. Starting lineups for tonight for the Notre Dame of West Haven Green Knights, coached by Tim Belcher. On defense, they start Kevin Malaya and Patty Connors. Up front, it's Matt Chaburo at left wing, Liam Hilton at center. Greg Caterano is the right wing with Connor Hilton in net. For the Darien Blue Wave, coached by Mac Budd. They'll start on defense with Harry Congdon and Scott Voigt. The top line of Riley Mullen on the right wing, Herbie Hazelton on the left wing, Max Romine is the center, David Voigt, the senior, in net.
No surprise really on either. You do see some size in that Notre Dame starting lineup, particularly Patrick Connors, who really was a physical force when the Green Knights toppled New Canaan.
David Voigt comes out to net. And he gets ready to roll. Some heavy hearts in Darien from over the weekend, of course, with the passing of a Darien teacher, physical education teacher, Suzanne Stisser's story still kind of making its way around, but she had disappeared Saturday and then was found dead on Saturday. And tough story, unfortunately, for the Darien community.
Awful story. A lot of people really heartbroken because she reached a lot of people in the community. First female member of the Darien Little League Board.
There will be much more on that in the Darien Times later this week. We'll talk a little more about that when we have time, but we are underway from the Darien Ice Rink, played by the Knights back in their own zone. So now the Blue Wave will take it into their end. That's Harry Congdon who will send it down the right wing. Romine takes it, heads down the right wing, puts on the brakes in the right corner, and the quick whistle stops things. Just 16 seconds gone by. Net comes off the moorings. The editor here in Darien, John, you and I both know Susan Schultz so well. She went and met with the Stisser family today,
right.
Had a long conversation with them, and I know more. There will be more in the Darien Times later this week.
Right. Watch DarienTimes.com for updates on that, and your information on services is there as well.
Off the face-off, it comes down into the Blue Wave zone, the sister family, Susan was telling me, very big athletics, as you were saying, of course, as well, but her son's all athletically inclined as well. Her one son was captain of the 98 baseball team. Thrown back through the neutral zone. Here's Romine. He puts on the speed, heads down the left wing, goes to the side of the left circle, down into the corner, takes a check back there from Patty Connors, one of the captains of this team for Tim Belcher. Really good-looking player and a good-looking team, as we saw about a week and change ago. Held in at the right point, and the big blast comes in. Down behind the net it goes. Just about 57 seconds gone by. We have no score here on this Monday night. Getting started for 2016. Good to be back with you. Hopefully everybody had a good break. Down into the left corner it goes. Trapped along those left wing boards there. Down there, they keep it alive. That for the Blue Wave was Ed Glassmeyer as it goes behind the net and goes into the right corner. Taking a hit over there is Owen Collins. Collins with a couple of goals last week against New Canaan. Side of the right circle, held in at the right point by Hunter Hazelton. Thrown down the right side. It'll go behind the net. Now held on and redirected with a backhand at that left point. Colby Ravosa there for the Darien Blue Wave. Back come the Green Knights to send it all the way down. David Voigt will watch it go for an icing. 13-18 to go in the first. No score.
Early on, one of the things that we saw Darien do to New Canaan, and that was they get the puck in, and they don't let it come out of the offensive zone.
Face-off will go to the right side of netminer Connor Hilton. He's a senior. Off the draw. And played back out of the zone. So the Blue Wave will have to go back, get on side. Now they get it all straightened out, and it'll be the Knights to turn it over. Instead, it's taken down on net, and able to cover up is Hilton. Good look out in front for Tom Solger. Had the opportunity in the slot, couldn't put it home.
He had a ton of room to the goalie's right-hand side and just didn't get there. He ended up with a shot that went directly at the goal. Curious as to what Frank saw on that.
He is on pot number 3.
Thanks, sir.
We had a turnover there by Dumas in his own defensive zone. Great opportunity for Soldier. Better save coming from Hilton there as Darien is on the attack early.
And held in at the right point, Frank, thank you. Back along the left wing side, and here come the Blue Wave to send it right back down again. Very little traffic out in front of David Voigt so far. That is the defensive attack. And, of course, the way the offense keeps the pedal, really the foot on the gas pedal. Held down in that left corner. 12:39 to go in the first period, out in front. Oh, it got pushed off to the side of the left circle, but held in. Now it'll come back out, dumped down, and another icing. Not good when you're having to ice the puck this much early on. 2.5 gone by, no score.
But Darien keeps that foot. They don't keep the pedal to the metal. They keep their foot on top of you, and they don't let you get up. They get into your zone, and you're not getting the puck out until they score. And it's only Hilton that's kept it scoreless.
Fourth line for Darien here.
Off the face-off to the right side of Hilton. It comes back down into the Blue Wave zone. They'll spin it around, send it back out to center. Grabbed there by the Blue Wave. They'll bring it across the line. Thrown down through the slot. It'll head over toward the right circle. In that right corner, you heard Frank say this is the fourth line for the Wave. Held in at the left point and lifted down behind the net off to that right corner. That's Connors over there for the Green Knights. No score, 3 minutes gone by in Darien. Held in at the right point once again. Blue Wave keeping the action going as it's turned back over. Finally able to get the clear out, but will they go for a third straight icing? They will.
What a big missed opportunity. What a big missed opportunity there, too. If that pass is on the tape, Notre Dame is off on a 3-on-1 the other way. But again, the constant pressure in their offensive zone, they're just trying to get it out as quickly as they can, and a big missed opportunity.
Face-off will come to the right side of the Green Knight net with 3 and change gone by in period number 1. Held in again by the Blue Wave at the left point. Now the Knights turn around and they'll start back out. Chaburo got it out of the zone. Now they'll play with it in the neutral zone. It's Caliendo, Doug Caliendo for the Knights, but instead it'll be taken away by the Blue Wave. They'll start back. Of course, the perspective here, top to bottom, bottom to top, depending on your team. If you're Darien, you're going from bottom to top, working off that home side of the ice, which is down here in front of us. They'll bring it across the line, the Knights, and lift it up into the netting. And John, that, of course, calls to mind as play stops with 11s remaining in the first period. This is not, and we talked this up quite a bit last week as well, this is not your traditional view here. You and I have dealt with this a bunch of times.
No, I'm almost used to calling it this way. You get to see things develop, but it's very difficult to see numbers.
Things at the far end, of course, for our perspective. Off the draw to the left side of Voigt goes behind the net in the Darien zone. 11:05 remaining in the first period. We have no score. Sent back out to center and across the line. Down goes Collins. Collins tangled up with Caliendo into that left corner. It'll head back behind the net. Back to play it was Jake Kirby. Held in at the right point by the Blue Wave. That was Colby Ravosa, the junior defender. Again behind the net with 10:40 to go in the opening frame. Puck loose back there. They'll play it into the left corner now. All the action taking place at that end, and that just can't bode well for the Green Knights, at least early on. Puck loose down. It'll go into the left corner. 10:25 to go in the first period. I know Notre Dame of West Haven tweeted that they'd be watching us tonight as well. Played back just across the line. They'll keep it in, lift it down, and it gets deflected back near center. Turned back one more time by the Blue Wave with Glassmeyer, and the Wave will go for a change. It'll bounce around and corral all the way over into the left corner of the Darien zone, turning back around to Scott Voigt. Voigt able to clear it ahead with Tom Solger, gets it out, and across the line they go, but spun right back through the neutral zone, and once again a white sweater there to take it away. It was Harry Congdon this time. Goes to his mate Scott Voigt, goes out of the rink. That stops us with 9:47 to go in the first period. No score. So, these aren't the camera angles you would be used to. You'd be used to seeing that perspective of left to right and right to left and, kind of the side cameras or corner cameras, if you will. It's just this is a rink that presents all kinds of challenges. Off the face-off. Oh, it's loose out in front, and the opportunity was there for the Knights with Matthew McCormick, the senior forward. Held in by the Knights, now to be taken back by the Blue Wave. They went for the long outlet pass to Ben Brown. Instead, they iced the puck with 9:30 to go in the first.
That's the first time in 5 minutes that David Voigt's seen any action in front of his net. You have to wonder, do you get out of your game when the whole game is played some 80 feet, 100 feet away from you?
That can, for sure. Faceoff will go to his left. Solger for the draw against, it looked like 3, and it was Ian Hayden, a freshman. Goes out of the zone now, so the Knights will go back and play it. That's Connors who goes all the way and spins it around. Off to the left wing boards. Thomas Driscoll there, the junior, as it goes behind the net and played out of the zone. No score, 9:08 to go in the first period. Finally getting the sense that the Knights might be able to figure some action out in the Darien zone, but here come the Blue Wave once again as they look to set it up out in front, and climbing on top of it is Hilton. 8:57 to go, first period, no score.
I want to see what comes out of this face-off. It's to the goalie's left, to Hilton's left. If Notre Dame wins it, can they clear it without icing it, or is Darien just going to keep it bottled up?
Face off to the left side indeed. Waiting there for the puck for the Blue Wave as it goes into the right corner. In that corner, they'll whistle it around to the near sideboards if you're in the crowd. Of course, from our perspective, it's purely just the left wing and top to bottom. Sulger will go out of his cage and play it behind. He'll send it around, held in at the point. Poking at it there, turned over and sent back. Good job by the defense. Now it gets left behind and taken by the Wave. They whistle it wide off a wrister, held in along the right wing boards. Back to grab it. They fanned on the try. That was Hazelton. Cross ice they go. And it'll go through the neutral zone, played once again by the Knights. Greg Catarano brings it back. Into the left corner they go with just about 8 to play in the first period. Heading back, they tried to center it there. Nice chance, but didn't quite find it. Connors grabs it through the neutral zone, bounces it off the boards, gets it across the line. Vinny Paolo on for the Knights as it goes to the left wing boards. 7:45 to go, first period. We have no score. Notre Dame of West Haven and Darien on this Monday night. Bring it across the line. Here come the Blue Wave once again. That's Riley Mullen. Mullen heads off into the right corner. Mullen and Sam Knowlton, but the puck loose in the right circle. A couple of chances there, nothing cooking for the Knights as we hit past the midway point of period number 1. So some good action, but at the other end, Hazelton left wing takes a hit in that left wing circle, and they bounce it off the glass and play it out to center. Turned over, chance coming down in the circle, and the save made in the body of David Voigt.
Point blank shot, big save by Voigt.
Christian Maselli was on for the Knights, couldn't put it home. We skate on, no score. Would do the Knights a lot of good to strike first. Through the neutral zone it goes, bouncing off the boards out in front of the benches. 6:50 to go in the opening frame. Down into the right corner. Oh, another chance skating through. Same combination. Trying to lift it top shelf, and they score! Looking like it's gonna be Maselli on the goal, but you almost, with all that activity, John, that almost had the sense of an own goal.
It was a scramble. It was, I think, Maselli who had the last stick on it. That all happened because of a weird carom off of the dasher boards in the corner to our left, closest to the Darien fans, that threw that puck right into the slot.
We'll get a look at it. Take a look yourself, John.
Look, here comes the dump. It's dumped in, and here it's going to take that weird carom. It's right in front, point blank shot, saved by Voigt, loose backhander, and it sneaks by Voigt, and it's Maselli, 14, with the goal, as the puck just slips past Voigt.
Just enough was there for Maselli to get the stick on the puck and put it home. Frank will have the details for us.
Yeah, Maselli will be credited with the goal. Hoban, number 6, gets the assist, but it does all go back to the start of the play. Caliendo with the very smart dump right off the corner, got the fortuitous bounce right out that kept the offensive attack going. And like you said, Rob, be huge for Notre Dame to start this game off with the lead. This will be the first time that Darien has trailed all year. And we also just saw, heading to the locker room, senior forward number 12, Matthew Chiaburro. He lost a skate blade. He's heading to the locker room. We'll see what they do about that.
All right. John.
And it was Caliendo who broke up that one-on-none headman to Hazelton going the other way. Darien just as quickly could have been up 1-0 and ends up trailing.
So a good start for Notre Dame of West Haven. They take the 1-0 lead, 6.5 to go in the first period through the neutral zone. The Knights with a little more confidence now, but Kirby takes it in the circle. Lifts it up. That will hit the netting, stopping us with 6:19 to go in the first.
I want to see the sense of urgency that we see out of Darien now that they're behind for the first time all year.
Face-off will come to the right side of the Notre Dame-West Haven net. Connor Helton in net tonight. And off the draw. It'll be played by the Blue Wave at the side of the left circle, held in at the left point. They'll play it back to that left circle, try to throw it down on net with Solger, go back behind it now, and back there to play it was Jay Dixon, the senior forward for the Blue Wave. Through the right circle, it spins back with the Knights. They'll look to clear it out, and they're able to do so, but it'll just roll on its end with a nifty little turn all the way down just about to Voigt, but instead taken away from him by Hunter Hazelton.
Just about a cheesy shot on goal, actually.
It really was about the cheesiest shot. If you were into statistics, it would have been fun to let it happen, but
I was hoping for
they
that.
are not going to do so as they try to throw it back on net down in the Notre Dame zone. 5.5 to go, period number 1. 1-0 Knights. The Knights get it back off a check. They'll bring it back out through the neutral zone, play it off the boards, and bring it down back behind the net. Voigt able to send around, and Dixon grabs it. But a bad turnover out in front in the circle, and the save made. Now sliding into Voigt goes Maselli. A bad turnover, and it took a while for that play to develop in the left circle. Chip back out to center, and the Knights will wait there. They'll bring it across the Darien line. They lead 1-0, throw it on net, and the save made by Voigt. He holds on. John, let's go back to what we saw here. A bad change, a bad turnover, all happening here in the left circle.
And what happens is Maselli establishes his presence right on the edge of the crease and will not let himself get moved out of that, and it creates a great threat for Notre Dame. They're looking for that again.
Off the draw. It's taken by Voigt out of his own zone. Scott Voigt through the neutral zone, sends it down the right wing, has it pinball all the way around to the left wing boards, held in over there. Max Baderadinas over there to play it. And things stopping right there with 4:49 to go in the first.
Another save by Hilton. He's stepped up every time he's been asked to, but his defense has done an admirable job of keeping the shots to a minimum. Darien's had the pressure, but in terms of quality scoring chances, and I'll be curious next stoppage as to what Franks thinks, I don't think they've had that many quality chances.
We'll get to Frank in a moment as it goes back behind the net with 4:40 to go in the first period. Something new, by the way, is going to happen in the intermission tonight. We'll tell you in a moment. This comes down into the left corner. We'll try to explain at the next whistle as it goes behind the net in the Darien zone. Held in at the right point. Thrown through traffic, and it bounced off the left pad of Voigt. Voigt able to get just a little bit of position for that. Otherwise, it'd be a 2-0 game. And the Knights have found some confidence. That is helping them. Bring it back through the neutral zone. They get it across the line, but the Wave take it right back out. Almost turned over again. Now they bring it back. It's 3-on-3 hockey and big hit. Oh, a couple of collisions with Mullen and Matt Murrow. Out of the zone it goes. It'll go across the Notre Dame line. Under 4 to go in the first. It's a 1-0 game. Notre Dame on top. Turned right back. Here come the Wave, but there's a defender. Looks like Connors, and climbing on top of it is Hilton. Good stuff coming between periods tonight as we try something new. Your game intermission news break coming up with Kate Czaplinski.
It'll be good. Bring you up to speed on the news of the day. Frank, your thoughts on quality scoring chances for Darien?
Well, I wouldn't say they've had one yet. They've had some continued forechecks and have been. Oh, we got a big break here.
Turned back. Here they come into the slot, and it's loose. Oh, swatted at by Voigt. Off to the right wing boards, and Voigt kind of clears the cobwebs out in that way that you'll shake your head, and it stays at 1-0.
That was a flip away from being a 2-0 game. He bats it away with the catcher's hand.
Batted loose at the other end by Hilton. Off to the left corner. It's a 1-0 game with 3:17 to go in the first period. Held in just across the line. It goes into the left circle. Here come the Knights once again. The Knights send it, and they'll wrist it down into the left corner. It's a 1-0 game, 3:05 to go in the first. Started really sharp for the Blue Wave. All the action at the opposite end of our perspective, but the past couple of minutes have been very much in favor of the Knights. They'll play it through the neutral zone, send it back to the side near the fans, bring it across the line. Trying to turn it back out, it's Dixon. Dixon had it go off a skate and instead taken away by Ravosa. Sends back to center, across the line goes Ben Brown. Brown down the left wing with Connors alongside of him. They'll go behind the net. Dixon back there for the Blue Wave. 2.5 to go in the first period. 1-0 our score on the Maselli goal at 7:16. Out to the neutral zone. Another chance for a one-on-one. No penalty yet, and still no penalty called. Good defensive work, but Maselli was there creating trouble again. Now Dixon across the line in a 1-on-2. In the left circle, his wrister goes wide. Goes to the far boards now. Turning it around is Palillo. He'll bring it back. Back come the Knights with 2 to go in the first. Across the line, getting around them. Put on net, and then he scores! A 2-0 start for Notre Dame of West Haven.
I think it's Paolo, and he just puts on the brakes at the top of the circle. The shot was not that impressive, but it finds the open side.
And it was Palillo, as you watch him going into that right circle, and he just reaches and throws it. Maybe a little bit of a screen set by Darien, but that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, it was not the hardest shot that Voigt's faced tonight.
We'll get the bookkeeping from Frank when time allows, but now it's a 2-0 game, and now you get to learn a little bit about the character of the Darien Blue Wave, now chasing 2. First time they have trailed at any point this season. 90 seconds remaining in period number 1. Here they come again, getting it across the line. They'll send it toward the right wing boards. That is Joe Ansaldo, who we have not mentioned his name tonight, and he is, of course, a fairly key player for the Knights. Went to grab it in the right corner. A lot of scrumming for it in that right corner. Romine gets it and gets it out of the zone. Here's Mullen. Mullen plays it off the boards across the line to the side of the left circle. Had his pocket picked, and Liam Hilton will turn that back around. Under 1 to go in the first period. all of a sudden a little bit of drama here in Darien with a 2-0 lead in favor of the guys in the green and gold. It'll go back into that green and gold zone, and now all the way out and rolling just on its end. So instead it'll be taken away by Hunter Hazelton, who will set things up and went to find a man, but instead Patty Connors will corral it back in his own zone with just about 30 remaining in period number 1. Through the neutral zone again, they'll go cross ice. Getting across the line goes Collins. Collins trying to set things up out in front. They'll go into the left corner. Under 30 to go in the first stanza. To the right corner we go now. Held in at that right corner along those boards. Couple of players there for the Blue Wave, as well as a Knight or two. Thomas Driscoll, one of them, with 12 to go in the first period of a 2-0 game. Into the right corner. It goes behind the net. They'll set it up in the circle. Now it's the Knights bringing it back with 5 and 4. They'll get it across the line with 3, with 2, and it's put on net with 1. The horn does sound out of that right circle. It was Matthew McCormick. That will be the end of the first period. There was a little bit of time left on the clock, but we're not going to get too crazy over it.
0.3 of a second, I looked up, but you're not going to restart it for that.
No, I would agree with that. Before we take a break, Frank, get us the bookkeeping from down on that second goal.
It was Polillo unassisted, took it himself all the way up the ice. And a smart shot there, just looking to go backside. I bet Voigt wishes he could have that one back.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot to that shot. It didn't look like it had a lot of velocity. It just kind of had the placement.
Yeah, it was smart. They looked like he might have dropped it off for a second there. Instead, chose to throw it on goal. And it gets through, and the Knights had a really strong end of the period there, going up 2-0.
I think everybody was looking for the drop past, Voigt included.
I would agree. Absolutely would agree. Hey, you know, our friend CTHS Hockey said if you're not at the Darien Ice Rink and you're not tuned to the HAN network, you're doing something wrong. I can't say I can argue that point.
I'm not going to argue with him.
And to extend that point, following this very wonderful commercial break will be Kate Czaplinski with a news update. After 1 here in Darien, a little bit of a surprise. Notre Dame of West Haven 2, Darien nothing. Kate's next after this on the HAN network.
When you experience a sports injury, you want to get better and fast. Coastal Ortho Express gives you direct access to orthopedic care quickly. Their physicians are fellowship trained in sports medicine at world-class universities and are also team doctors for area football teams. For specialized personal care of sports injuries, go to Coastal Ortho Express. Open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building, 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or coastalorthoexpress.com. Coastal Orthopedics, keeping you on the move.
Connecticut is coming back to hometown banking, to a partner that makes small businesses feel big, where community comes first, where high-tech tools go hand in hand with a human touch, where you get the know-how only neighbors can deliver, where saving time is important too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well, bank smart, bank local, bank well.
This HAN Network video is brought to you by Darien Sports Shop.
I'm Kate Czaplinski. This is your HAN Network in-game news update, bringing you some of the area's top stories for January 4th, including that a missing Darien woman and former Tokenique physical education teacher was found dead in her car on Saturday. 63-year-old Suzanne Stisser, who retired from Tokenique School in June 2014, was found at about 4 in the afternoon Saturday in what police called a remote location in Darien. Investigation has revealed there were no signs of foul play, police said, but the incident remains under investigation. The Darien police also extended their condolences to the Stisser family and thanked law enforcement agencies for their assistance in the search. According to family members, the 63-year-old Stisser was last seen at her residence on Friday, January 1st. The initial search included several other law enforcement agencies. Updates on that story will be posted at DarienTimes.com. And in Ridgefield, police arrested a man who led them on a wild, high-speed chase through the center of town on Sunday that resulted in the car he was operating damaging 6 other vehicles. However, no injuries were reported. Police said that 23-year-old Mark Bogdanoff Johnson of Stamford was being arraigned January 4th at Danbury Superior Court and was being held in lieu of a $100,000 bond. His charges were first-degree larceny, 2 counts of interfering with police, assault on a public safety officer, reckless driving, 4 counts of evading responsibility, among several other charges. The chase began around 2 in the afternoon when the police department received multiple 911 calls from citizens reporting a blue vehicle traveling southbound on Danbury Road, passing vehicles in a no-passing zone at a high rate of speed. An officer parked in a private lot off of Danbury Road observed the vehicle go by him. The officer pulled out in an attempt to stop the vehicle, but it sped away. The officer then followed and found numerous damaged vehicles that the speeder had struck. The speeding car became so damaged in the Branchville area of Ridgefield that the driver ran away and was pursued on foot by officers. Police gave chase and were able to take him into custody a short while later behind a residence on King Lane. And in more Darien news, students at Ox Ridge School had a longer than expected holiday break. A water main break in Darien early Monday left Ox Ridge School without water, forcing school officials to close school for the day. By 11 in the morning, Aquarian Representative Peter Fazekas told the Darien Times that the water main break was repaired and service would be back up for the 100 to 200 customers that had been affected. School Superintendent Dan Brenner said Ox Ridge will be open on Tuesday. And in Stratford, firefighters put out an early Monday morning fire in the attic of an Ocean View Terrace home. Fire Marshal Brian Lampart said a report of a fire was called in at about 8:30 in the morning at the home. Lampart said one of the home's 9 residents was coming home after dropping his grandchildren off at school when he saw fire coming from the home's attic. Lampart said the fire was contained to an attic fan. Firefighters had it under control in about 20 minutes. No one was inside the house at the time of the fire, and there were no injuries. You can get updates on that at StraffordStar.com. But that's going to do it for your HAN Network in-game news update. For the latest in local news, sports, weather, and more, watch Coffee Break live weekdays at 11. This has been brought to you by the Darien Sports Shop.
Darien Sports Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sports Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at DarienSport.com.
Healthy, confident smiles begin at Stratford Orthodontics. Conveniently located on Main Street, we are Stratford's hometown orthodontist. We offer the latest in orthodontic technology, including Damon braces and Invisalign. We always accept new patients. Call today to schedule a complimentary consultation. 203-375-8332. Stratford Orthodontics, 2499 Main Street, Stratford. 203-375-8332 and online at StraffordSmile.com.
I'm John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter, and I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office.
I'm Denise DiGregoli, the host of The Drive on the HAN Network. Join me Tuesdays for some motivational, intelligent talk with a little humor as we visit with people who live their lives mindfully. Tune in to The Drive live on Tuesdays, 12:30, here on the HAN Network.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
First intermission here at the Darien Ice Rink. 2-0 our score with John Kovach, Frank Granito, our entire crew. I'm Rob Adams. And, you know, Notre Dame of West Haven started out on their heels. Darien had the better of the play for the first large chunk of this game, John, and then all of a sudden things started going their way, and now they're up 2.
Darien kept Notre Dame bottled up in their end, but they didn't have quality chances. A great man who influenced me a lot, who I used to coach football with, had a saying, and it was body punchers don't win titles. We saw Darien in that first period do a lot of body punching, A lot of working around, get maybe a shot here, a shot there. They never went for the finish. Notre Dame went for the finish, and because of it, they're up 2.
Frank Ice Side, your thoughts as we sit here in the first break?
Well, we saw early on what can happen when you can't get out of your own zone and refuse to get it deep against Darien. They'll sustain their forecheck, work from behind the net, and they'll get it up to the point, and it turns into a shooting gallery. I got cut off before because of the breakaway, but we talked about how we thought Darien hadn't had a quality chance yet. I think that was the case. There were a couple lucky breaks off tips that looked to be close and a couple scrums in front, but you never felt like they really had a good opportunity come off of their forecheck. And finally, Notre Dame starts to throw pucks in deep, and they force Darien's defensemen to go back and make quick decisions. The first goal was off a great bounce, a smart play, and the second goal comes off a sloppy turnover at their own blue line. So it's little things like that right now that really turn the tide in Notre Dame's favor.
Frank, Darien, for having the better of play in terms of offensive zone possession, really has not tested Hilton at all yet tonight.
No, they haven't really put anything on him that has been a difficult shot to face. They've had some shots from the point that were redirected, a couple easy saves for him. They had one that got him up around the mask, but other than that, he looked to be pretty comfortable back there.
And really, if Voigt hadn't come up with some of the double take inducing saves that we saw down this end, this is inches from being a 3-4-0 Notre Dame lead right now. The one came in and it was flipping side over side, and he just kind of swatted it away with his catcher's mitt. That was maybe one more rotation from being another goal.
That was a great reflex save there, just getting it off the edge of the glove. And as great as he was, and they probably would be down 3 or 4 had it not been a couple of those saves, he's probably sitting in the locker room right now thinking this should be a 1-0 game after the last goal he let in. But again, we saw that a couple lazy plays by Darien defensemen led to, I think they had 2 breakaways within the last 2.5 minutes to Notre Dame-West Haven that Voigt had to come up big on. So it'll be interesting to see what Coach Bud did in between the intermission here and how they come back and respond to start the second.
One thing I've noticed from up here, and I noticed it when we saw Notre Dame play New Canaan, it looks to me, and I'm wondering if you're seeing the same thing down where you are, like Notre Dame tends to keep its first unit out there a lot longer than New Canaan did, and I think a lot longer than Darien has tonight. Are you seeing the same thing?
Well, I think that Darien has gotten into a sense that they have 4 lines they trust in. They're a very deep team, and they are very good with, it's a minute at most on a shift. They're off, and they want to wear you down the best they can. New Canaan is a younger team. Some of those kids are not exactly conditioned to high school hockey yet, so their shifts are naturally going to be shorter. This is the Notre Dame-West Haven. Their top line is senior heavy, and they are expected to score goals for this team. So you will see them take it upon themselves and put a little bit of a load on them.
And they're not shy about using the body. They're one of the more physical teams we've seen.
No, definitely got physicality picked up a lot after the first goal and even after the second goal in that first period.
Thank you, Frank. Throw it back to Rob as the teams retake the ice.
Thanks, guys.
And back out they come, John, and 2-0 our score. And again, kind of intriguing the way this has gone. Let's see if the Blue Wave can pick it back up. Goals in the first for Notre Dame, Maselli at 7:16 and Palillo at 13:02.
And until that goal at 7:16, really we had watched the entire game from 2 zones away, the zone closest to us in the neutral zone. Everything was at the far end of the ice.
And it'll be interesting if in this period things stay the way that they are, we'll have more of the action down here in front of us.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if that happens. I'm curious to see what Darien does to increase the quality chances, to take more of an effort at finishing the play. They've set up some very nice plays, some nice breakaways. They need to finish these, and they need to finish 2 right away.
They absolutely need to finish them up for sure. 2-0 after 2 as the teams indeed do come back out ready for the second period.
You know, I was talking about how physical Notre Dame is, and we see Patrick Connor out there shaking hands with all his teammates. He is so quick and yet so big. He is like slamming a gate shut on some breakaways. He really is.
That's a good way to look at it. Second period ready to get underway.
I'm all about analogies, Rob.
You are. You are. That's why you're a professional. Connors clears it back out of the zone. It'll bounce off the stick and down into the Darien zone. To the far side it goes as it went off the stick of Catarano. Back come the Blue Wave in the white. Notre Dame of West Haven in the green and the gold. Both nice, as I said at the top of the broadcast. If you're a uniform guy, as I am, these are beauties here at the Darien Ice Rink tonight. Riley Mullins sent it back through the neutral zone, but cross ice it comes, and so it'll go the other way. Whistled down on net and pushed aside by Voigt off the big blast from Malia. A good 50 feet away. It goes down into the left wing boards, bounces off the glass, and out of the zone it comes. Heading down toward Hilton. Hilton will just leave it aside. Get a better look from down below at just how sweet those sweaters are and the whole uniform in general as it goes back behind the net. That interlocking N and D with the knight on each shoulder, and you've got the white numbers outlined in gold. Very nice look.
I'd like to see the shoulder logo as the main crest.
I would agree with that.
That would be an awesome looking shirt.
I think that would be very sharp on the on these road jerseys.
Or
road
sweater,
sweaters.
as we should call, as I should refer to them.
We prefer sweaters for sure. Across the line come the Blue Wave to the side of the right circle. Puck loose, turned right back around, now turned over. Right circle, hit the pipe and scores! There's your answer right there. Sam Knowlton rings the bell. It's a 2-1 game.
And as he came up his right side, there was a defender there who was in a position and then peeled off as if to mark somebody else. Knowlton took advantage of that opportunity to ricochet that puck in off of the far post.
Face off back out the center. Now a 2-1 game at 1:24. We'll get the rest of the details in a moment. But that, to me, was crucial for the Blue Wave to come up with that. Along the left wing boards, it'll come back across the line, down into the Notre Dame zone. It'll be behind the net now as they get tangled up back there. That was Owen Collins for the Wave. Held in, just loose as it got deflected, and that always can turn into a redirection or even worse, a flutter bomb as it comes down on net, goes behind the net and into the left corner. Now along the left wing boards and out to center. Waiting there, the Blue Wave with Scott Voigt. He'll backhand it down the right side. It'll go behind the net. 2-1 our score now. Game getting interesting for Caliendo. Now it'll be sent back out of the zone. Congdon went to throw it back in. Caliendo will take it through the neutral zone. They'll get it across the line, but just barely, and bring it back. It's a 3-on-1. Right circle sent wide. Puck loose. Hilton will climb on top of it. Little pushing, little shoving. Holidays are over.
Oh, this is ugly.
This is an ugly one with Voigt and Dumas, Zachary Dumas. Somebody's going to go have a seat and need a hug.
I think we'll let Frank get his pen ready because he's going to have some notes to take on this one.
Frank, take your notes, then we'll get to you, but that was ugly.
All comes out of a bad change and really a 4-on-1 for Notre Dame.
We'll turn the mic down because sometimes you'll eavesdrop on a conversation you shouldn't hear. So
it might get a bit salty sometimes on the sidelines or down by the benches. Yeah,
we'll let Frank eavesdrop for a moment, and then we'll hear what went on from Frank.
I may or may not have said some things on the sidelines I wouldn't say on the air.
Not you.
Maybe in a moment of passion.
I'm not buying that.
Possible. I know some of my best stories I have to sanitize for our airwaves.
So it's going to take at least a minute here to sort it all out as the official goes over to the table to give all the information.
I mean, that 4-on-1 and the first skater to have to, he never looked to the sides. He just took the shot, and that allowed Hilton to cover up. That was a golden opportunity for Darien off a really bad, messy change by Notre Dame.
These will be our first penalties of the night, by the way.
We want to see if Frank's got the...
Frank, if you're ready, let's hear him.
So it'll be Soldier and Dumas. They'll go for coincidental roughing penalties. They'll sit out 2 minutes and have to wait for a whistle to be released. Notre Dame will go to the power play, though, as Dixon will get a roughing penalty as well. That won't be served by himself. Also, guys, quickly going back to the goal, there was a miscommunication at the blue line between Murrow and Ansaldo over who was going to pick up the loose puck. It turned out that Knowlton was waiting for it right there, and he put the biscuit in the basket.
And with that said, it's a 2-1 game. So there is a power play right now, and it's got 1:42 remaining on it. Everything happened at 2:30. Here come the Blue Wave, though, into the right circle, into the body of Hilton. It goes behind the net, and Hilton, way out of position, goes back to what would be the trapezoid area in the higher levels, AHL, NHL, but nonetheless, play stops with 1:29 remaining on the power play.
Yeah, Darien arguing for a call there. He covered that up way out of the crease. Well, I think he's discussing it with the official, is Hilton, and being told that he was okay. Still trying to sort out the trapezoid rule in my own head. I'm like, what do you do with that?
I know. And this from a guy who has done AHL play-by-play. Across the line come the Knights. Thrown down on net and the save made as it bounces wide. I miss doing that. That was fun for the couple of years. I got to do some Sound Tiger stuff. But my buddy Phil Jubileo, who was the lead guy there, he is no longer there. I was his backup for a couple of years, and that was a lot of fun.
Those are fun games to go to if you have not done so.
Great time doing it. 3:10 gone here, second period. 2-1 game. Notre Dame on top. There was a lot to sort out there in that mess. Now the puck goes behind the net. Bounced off the boards, held in, left point. Kept alive over there, starting with Caterano. Down to the right wing side in the circle. With the Knights on the power play, that has 60 seconds remaining in it. Right wing side, that was Chaburo. Chaburo back from the skate problem. Big blast coming, goes up and high. Now goes behind the cage and comes over to the circle and all the way down. Out to play it is Hilton. Chaburo, remember, went off with a bad skate, for lack of a more graceful term. Now it's Caliendo skating out of his own zone. Got it across the line as he initially had it taken away from him, but it'll be turned right back around and all the way down it goes to Hilton. Hilton drops to a knee and leaves it aside. Taken by Michael Ansaldo back behind the net. Correction, that's Caliendo. It was 10, not 11. So out to the neutral zone they go with 20 remaining on the man advantage. Get it across the line with Greg Craterano. Wind it around the boards into the right wing side. Liam Hilton over there to play it for the guys in the green, white, and gold. Goes behind the net, now heading over to the side of the right circle. Keep it alive there at the bottom of the circle in the right corner, played there by Liam Hilton. Held in, Connors, right point. Here's Hilton in the circle. Goes behind the net, just trying to throw it on the net with a lot of traffic out in front, and finally Voigt able to cover. Power play expires, 10:27 remaining in the second period. It's a 2-1 game.
No real strong chances for Notre Dame during that 2 minutes of man up. And that would have taken care of all the penalties now, so the boxes down by Frank are empty.
So everything calm once again, but there was a sense of something nasty there for just a moment.
That was as heated as I've seen guys get in high school hockey, I think.
Yes.
Reminded me a little bit of the game we did at, you were talking about Webster Bank, at Webster Bank Arena, where there was a little bit of action like that with some sticks to the face and whatnot last year.
Hoping we're going to get to do 4 basketball games in about 2 weeks' time at Webster Bank Arena. Across the line, comes down into the right circle. Trying to throw it out in front. The Blue Wave looking to tie it. Side of the right circle. Again, taken. Side of the circle. Glassmeyer coming out from behind the net. Glassmeyer tried to get it down to Kirby. Kirby coming out of the right circle into the slot. Instead, comes back out the neutral zone ice. And it hits the bench, I believe, with 9:55 to go in the second.
That's something we need to do.
Hit the bench?
No.
Oh.
Hit Webster Banker. We've never been to a Sound Tigers game.
You and I? No.
Need to do that.
A couple of times when I was calling a couple of those games, I remember asking if you wanted to keep me company over there, and we weren't able to work it out. You were going to stop by a couple of times.
I was hoping
but
to.
you're right. You and I have never been to a Sound Tigers
Just go
game
sit
together.
and watch hockey and not describe every second of it.
Sometimes that's harder for me than it seems as
Yeah,
it goes into the right corner. Not always easy for me to be a fan at these games as it goes off to the side of the net and able to trap it is Voigt. 9:43 to go in the second period, 2-1.
After that little eruption right out in front of us, this game, it's almost like a balloon got popped. There's really like no heat. It's like it reached its boiling point, blew the lid off it, and now we're kind of like back in a feeling out period. It's a strange feel right now.
Face off to the right side of David Voigt, heading over into the right corner, played out of the left corner, played back to center, and spun around. So it'll be backhanded down the left wing side. It'll come down into the left corner and brought around the boards in the night end. Held in at the side of the right circle, then blasted not very strong out of that right circle, I might add. The attempt made by Ben Brown, and we appreciate it. This goes for icing. Didn't quite get all of that blast. 9:16 to go second period, 2-1.
Yeah, as I was saying before that last face, it's really, I mean, even the crowd has gone quiet. It really should have stepped on the pedal a little bit because Darien immediately cut it to a 1-goal game. And it's just kind of like everybody's, let's catch our breath and figure out what's going to happen next.
Face off to the right side of Connor Hilton. There is a student cheering section, a whiteout going on to our left, so the perspective left side of the camera. Bouncing off the boards, they'll play it at the other end with Catarano. Catarano puts on the brakes, throws it across. Oh, couldn't quite corral it in the slot was Chaburo as it heads off to that left corner. Once again, sent down through that left corner and behind the net with Catarano. Trying to get it out in front. It's 2-1 game, 8:45 to go second period. Held in just inside the line. Trying to throw it through traffic went Malaya. Down the right side again. It'll go behind the net. Again, Catarano comes on. They'll bring it off the boards, right wing side in the circle. Held in by Connors at the right point, who just wrists it down. And it got pushed aside through traffic. Keep an eye on Chaburo and Voigt, and there's a whistle with 8:24 to go second period.
Notre Dame really established almost a camp in front of Voigt in the Darien goal. They were not coming out of this.
Two-one game, 8:24 to go, second period. Face off to the left side of Voigt, held in at the right point, goes behind the net. Off to the left corner now. They'll play it back to center through the neutral zone, and the Wave bring it across. Mullen sends it wide with a wrister out of the right circle. It'll bounce back out to center. Sam Knowlton waiting there for the Wave. Whistles it right back down to Mullen, but instead it got taken away. Zachary Dumas able to get it out of the zone. So they'll reset things once again. Hunter Hazelton for the Blue Wave. Max Romine gets it out to center with Mullen. That high-powered first line for Mac Budd. They'll go behind the net. Got taken off the play by Caliendo, and it'll be Knowlton to go back into his own zone. Voigt will come out to play it. 7:39 to go in the second period. It is a 2-1 game. A little bit of a unique perspective here if you've never watched a game at the Darien Ice Rink, certainly from a media perspective. If you're in the crowd, sure, you're sitting in the stands. Things are left, right, and all of that. Here's the Wave again. They'll just send it, and it'll get pushed aside off the stick save by Hilton. But for us, from a media perspective, you know, we've tried all kinds of things. Scissor lifts. We were going to build scaffolding. I think we were actually willing to build her some towers if it took it to create our own press box, whatever it took. Nothing quite came, shall we say, together. So we get this bottom to top and top to bottom view. It's just a challenging rink for us to work from. Still having fun here nonetheless. You having a good time?
Always.
Okay, then that's all I need to know. Glad you're all enjoying it on this Monday night with John Kovach, Frank. We've got Frank Granito between the benches. I'm Rob Adams. Right wing side into the corner it goes. Darien trailing 2-1 as it's loose. Oh, it's there, and it got pushed aside off the deflections. Hilton up to the game as it goes left wing side and lifted out into the benches. Frank almost got a gift over there, a souvenir, right? 6.5 to go second period, 2-1.
And Frank, it looked like Hilton came up with either the left side of his chest or the left arm. He knocked it down and then batted it clear with the right.
That's right, and he sticked it aside. Smart play there. And right before that last save, we saw the first good shift of the night for that Darien first line we've talked about, Romine, Mullen, Hazelton, as they had a couple opportunities.
Off the face-off, Catarano will go play it down to the side of the left circle. 2-1 our score, 6:20 to go, second period. We remind you, second intermission, you will get to hear more of the dulcet tones of Kate Czaplinski and the HAN Network in-game news update. 6:10 to go, though, before we hear from Kate. We're in the second period of a 2-1 game. They'll bring it across the line. Will the wave? That's Kirby. Kirby trying, gets hit hard behind the net, and he goes down. Connor's back there for the Knights. It's otherwise been a clean game with one power play, save for a little skirmish that took place out in front of where we're standing. 5:49 to go in the second frame. Across the line, it was going to be the wave on the attack, but the Knights said, well, we think better of it. Connors along those sideboards with Romine. Now they turn it over. Hazelton, left circle, just dumps it down into the left corner. It'll come behind the net, and that's where Romine will take it. One-timer, and the kick save and the beauty off the left side by Hilton. Always like to say that, a little tribute to Marv Albert. Off the deflection, it goes down into the Blue Wave zone. I don't have Marv's hair. I don't have Cato's hair for that matter. Down the right wing side it goes, just about across the line. It's loose with Mullen in the slot. Why do we mention Cato? I'll get a moment to talk about that. Through the neutral zone it goes across the line, and they're trying to set it up out in front. The save made by Voigt. Off to the left wing side it goes, back out to center. 4:57 to go, second period. It's a 2-1 game. The Wave will reset. Cross ice they go. Backtrack it off the boards. Trying to play keep away. Almost had their pocket picked. It was there, and it goes off into the right corner of the Darien zone. Now 4:40 remaining in a 2-1 second period game. John's right, for a large stretch, there was kind of a lull here in the building. Then it got a little crazy out in front of Hilton, and now it is settled back down again. Held in at the left point, thrown down, and the save made between the pads of Voigt as it goes toward that left corner. 4:23 remaining in this second period. Goes behind the net once again, comes over to the circle, bounces off the boards, out to center, and Zachary Dumas awaits. Happy birthday to Christopher Kalin today, as across the line goes Ansaldo. Ansaldo puts it on net. And the save made by Voigt. So we do wish Cato a very happy
birthday, Mr. Kalin.
I texted him at one point. I actually called him earlier in the day. It was unlike him to not pick up, but he texted me back while we were here saying, sorry, didn't have his phone with him. Very rare that he forgets it. Face off to the right side. I asked, we always have, as you know, a running conversation between myself, Cato, of course, the great Chris Irway, who does football with me on the HAN Network, and Ryan DiMaria, who many of you have heard at one time or another, and hopefully we'll get him back for some hoops. I asked them all if they were taking today off, because today being a national holiday, it's Cato Day. It really should be a national holiday.
I'm working on that. I'm working with upper-level management to get Cato's birthday a paid holiday.
This will be icing with 3:54 to go in the second period. So
extend that New Year's weekend to 7 days, if we can pull that off.
Cato is one of the family and one of a kind for sure. 3:54 remaining second period, a 2-1 game here at the Darien Ice Rink. Whether you are watching it from top to bottom, left to right, up or down, or anywhere in between, I hope you're enjoying the pictures that we're putting out for you tonight. A little tough when you're looking through the netting, of course. That's another challenge that, of course, you're going to do for safety, and safety is paramount. As they chip at it, off to the left side of David Voigt. Goes behind his cage with 3:44 to go in the second period of a 2-1 game. Darien did score to cut the lead in half. But the Knights staying very aggressive. They play it off the boards and get across the Darien line. Go down the side with Ansaldo. Send it back behind the cage, and they'll keep it alive to the left wing side. Held in there, almost taken back. Now it'll come out of the zone and turn right back around. They'll touch up and get onside, but instead the Waves say not necessary. We'll take it and send it down into the Knight zone. They'll go for a change. 3:14 to go, second period, as Kevin Malaya takes a little hip check from a fine young gentleman. I believe that was Kirby, and it was Jake Kirby, one of the captains for Mac Budd and the Darien Blue Wave. 3:04 to go second period. Turned back over and taken by Catarano. But Catarano trying to slice between defenders, and that was not exactly Swiss cheese as it comes down into the Notre Dame zone and goes behind the net. Connors off into the right corner, tangled up with Glassmeyer, didn't appreciate the stick there. They'll go back again beyond the end line, taken back once again. That's Chaburo to get it out to center. Finds Palillo, who gets across the line. Vinny Paulillo heads toward the top of the left circle, now skirts all the way around it, tried to just throw it on net, and climbing on top of it is Voigt with 2.5 remaining in the second period.
Notre Dame will make you pay for any sloppy pass, poor stick handling. They're right there ready to pounce and try to make something happen in transition.
Face off to the right side of Voigt.
Okay.
Put on net again, and Voigt will hold on.
So anyway.
We're all feeling the early January love, John.
Oh, yeah.
Face off to the right side one more time of David Voigt. A couple of senior netminders here tonight, both wearing 33. Hilton's still listed on the roster as 30, but...
Well, we're only in our second season of that, Rob.
Yeah. Held in at the left point. This, of course, our third season of hockey here on the HAN combination of radio, video, and everything.
Really is hard to believe we're in our third season since we started doing the streamed
Isn't it?
audio.
Yep. Remember that first game?
Mm-hmm.
That first hockey game, that is. I remember that first. That was a good one. 1-0. It featured this very same Darien Blue Wave team.
That was a great game.
Yeah, it was a wonderful game. The Wave beat Fairfield Prep at the freezer of ice as it's blasted well wide and comes over and held in at the left point. Goes back out through the neutral zone. That was pretty much the day my beloved son said to me, "Daddy, I'm never going back to that building again."
He has stuck to that, hasn't he?
He has stuck to it. If you remember, he sat curled up almost in a fetal position in the grandstands, just trying to stay warm.
Your body instinctively does that as hypothermia sets in, and it tries to preserve warmth.
Goes off into the left corner, down in the Darien zone. 90 seconds remaining in period number 2. It's a good one at 2-1. The Wave able to cut it in half off the goal by Knowlton, who really rang the bell at 124. Held in, blasted. It'll go off into the right corner off a wrister. That came from Caliendo, and the whistle here with 1:17 to go in the second period.
And somebody's going to be up a man.
You got it. The door opens, and trouble awaits. With 1:17 remaining in the second. Frank, what do you have?
So it'll be a bench minor here against Notre Dame. Too many men on the ice. They'll have to serve 2 minutes now. Guys, something I noticed too, that last shift with the number 1 line for Darien, it was Debar Ardinas who was centering the line. Romine has left the bench. He has a left shoulder injury, got hit amongst the boards. We will see if we find out when he's coming back.
13:33, time of the penalty as it comes wide.
Not the first sloppy change we've seen.
No, by no stretch of the imagination. Side of the left circle, bouncing off Connors. Goes to the side of the circle again with Kirby. Kirby trying to keep it alive. Now into the circle it goes. Glassmeyer sends it wide.
Not by much, Rob.
Under 1 to go, second period. Glassmeyer climbing on top of a man, and now the pushing and the shoving again right down below us. Dominic Spino was in the middle of all that. We'll see if anybody skates off or will they just let them play on. Boys will be boys. 28 seconds gone on the power play. 49 remaining in the second period. It's 2-1.
Wise move by Ansaldo to grab Connor from behind and pull him out of there because Connors was kind of getting a little rambunctious on a skater who was down.
That's what I noticed.
I'm really surprised he's not sitting for 2, to be honest with you.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Face off to the right side of Hilton with 49 to go in the period. Held in at the left point. And the whistle and the hand pass. And that did seem like he had a little more of a grip on that one along those left side boards. Face off will come out of the zone.
I don't know, but I thought he put it on his stick blade. Frank?
I'm going to think they said that he cupped his hand over the puck there, so he held on to it, and that's what the whistle came from.
And what happened on that change with the too many men? And as I said, not the first sloppy one we've seen.
No, not the first sloppy one we've seen. I think that one of the defensemen headed towards the bench and then stopped for an extra second trying to hold a puck in. His partner had already jumped on the ice, and he played it while they had 6 green shirts out there.
So they bring it back the other way. Down to a half minute to go in the second period. Down to 1:15 remaining on the power play. We'll see if the carryover time is necessary as the Blue Wave get across the night line. It's Knowlton. Knowlton right circle. Knowlton with the nifty stick handling, but it got sent off to the left circle. 19 to go on the on the period. Down into the left corner. It goes behind the net. Played and trapped up there. Caliendo for the Knights. Kirby for the Wave, chipping at it. It comes away and comes out of the zone. That'll be enough to end the period. 1-0. Period done. 42 remaining on the power play. 2-1 after 2.
Started to get the intensity back as that period wore on. Very front-heavy period in terms of action and in terms of emotion.
After 2 periods of play, after Sam Knowlton was able to cut it to a 1-goal game, we have a 2-1 lead for Notre Dame of West Haven. Third period coming up in number 1 versus number 4. Good ones so far, but Kate Czaplinski's got your in-game news update. It comes right after this. After 2, Notre Dame of West Haven 2, Darien 1. You're watching the FCIAC on the HAN Network.
Find over 1,000 special stories at Hospital for Special Surgery. Go to hss.edu/backinthe-game.
I was jogging 5 months after my cartilage tear.
Skiing a year after hip surgery.
And playing grandma 4 weeks after hip replacement.
One special hospital, 1,000 special stories. See Connecticut patients at hss.edu/CT.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
This HAN Network video is brought to you by Darien Sports Shop.
I'm Kate Czaplinski. This is your HAN Network in-game news update, bringing you some of the area's top stories for January 4th, including that a missing Darien woman and former Tokenique physical education teacher was found dead in her car on Saturday. 63-year-old Suzanne Stisser, who retired from Tokenique School in June 2014, was found at about 4 in the afternoon Saturday in what police called a remote location in Darien. Investigation has revealed there were no signs of foul play, police said, but the incident remains under investigation. The Darien police also extended their condolences to the Stisser family and thanked law enforcement agencies for their assistance in the search. According to family members, the 63-year-old Stisser was last seen at her residence on Friday, January 1st. The initial search included several other law enforcement agencies. Updates on that story will be posted at DarienTimes.com. And in Ridgefield, police arrested a man who led them on a wild, high-speed chase through the center of town on Sunday that resulted in the car he was operating damaging 6 other vehicles. However, no injuries were reported. Police said that 23-year-old Mark Bogdanoff Johnson of Stamford was being arraigned January 4th at Danbury Superior Court and was being held in lieu of a $100,000 bond. His charges were first-degree larceny, 2 counts of interfering with police, assault on a public safety officer, reckless driving, 4 counts of evading responsibility, among several other charges. The chase began around 2 in the afternoon when the police department received multiple 911 calls from citizens reporting a blue vehicle traveling southbound on Danbury Road, passing vehicles in a no-passing zone at a high rate of speed. An officer parked in a private lot off of Danbury Road observed the vehicle go by him. The officer pulled out in an attempt to stop the vehicle, but it sped away. The officer then followed and found numerous damaged vehicles that the speeder had struck. The speeding car became so damaged in the Branchville area of Ridgefield that the driver ran away and was pursued on foot by officers. Police gave chase and were able to take him into custody a short while later behind a residence on King Lane. And in more Darien news, students at Ox Ridge School had a longer than expected holiday break. A water main break in Darien early Monday left Oxridge School without water, forcing school officials to close school for the day. By 11 in the morning, Aquarian Representative Peter Fazekas told the Darien Times that the water main break was repaired and service would be back up for the 100 to 200 customers that had been affected. School Superintendent Dan Brenner said Oxridge will be open on Tuesday. And in Stratford, firefighters put out an early Monday morning fire in the attic of an Ocean View Terrace home. Fire Marshal Brian Lampart said a report of a fire was called in at about 8:30 in the morning at the home. Lampart said one of the home's 9 residents was coming home after dropping his grandchildren off at school when he saw fire coming from the home's attic. Lampart said the fire was contained to an attic fan. Firefighters had it under control in about 20 minutes. No one was inside the house at the time of the fire, and there were no injuries. You can get updates on that at StraffordStar.com. But that's going to do it for your HAN Network in-game news update. For the latest in local news, sports, weather, and more, watch Coffee Break live weekdays at 11. This has been brought to you by the Darien Sports Shop.
Darien Sports Shop is a unique store because it's a family store. A busy mom can come in with kids in tow and find everything she needs for them, and even find a dress for herself for Saturday night. And if she's in a rush, she can simply go home and order it from us that night. We'll deliver it the next day. The Darien Sports Shop. We're pretty on the outside and amazing on the inside. Conveniently located with free and easy parking at 1127 Post Road, Darien, Connecticut. Or shop us online at DarienSport.com.
Denali is your outdoor retail destination in the Westfield Trumbull Mall. For the last 21 years, we have carefully selected clothing, footwear, and gear from a variety of the best outdoor brands, such as the North Face, Patagonia, Vineyard Vines, UGG, Merrell, GoPro, New Balance, and many more. Our stores have a friendly, knowledgeable staff to help you with all of your running, hiking, and cold weather needs, and in discovering all things outdoorsy and awesome. Visit us in the Westfield Trumbull Mall or online at DenaliOutdoor.com.
Discover the Wilburton Inn in Manchester, Vermont, a 30-acre historic estate featuring a turn-of-the-century mansion with elegant inn guest rooms and 7 large private vacation homes, perfect for ski vacations and holiday celebrations. Special offer on select rooms and houses. Stay 2 nights, get the 3rd night free through Christmas Day. CNN has called the Wilburton one of the top 8 mansion hotels in America. Call 802-362-2500 or visit wilburtoninn.com for more information.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Hi, I'm Rob Adams with my good friend Donald Eng, and we're the home team for Nutmeg Sports, Monday through Wednesday at 2 o'clock right here on the HAN Network. We are the place for all things Connecticut sports, so come hang out with us on Nutmeg Sports. Don? They don't call him the best color man in the game for nothing. Nutmeg Sports, 2 o'clock, Monday through Wednesday, right here on the HAN Network.
John Kovach. I'm a newspaper editor. I'm a high school football coach. I'm a television presenter. And I want you to love fishing as much as I do. Tune in to Yankee Fisherman, Thursdays at 1 on the HAN Network. It's like going to the tackle shop without leaving your office. I'm John
You're watching
Kovach.
the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
And we welcome you back to the Darien Ice Rink with John Kovach, Frank Granito. I'm Rob Adams. 2-1 our score as Notre Dame of West Haven leads Darien after 2. I think we got a good one coming up in the third period.
We do, but that was just an unusual roller coaster of a period. Darien got the goal they needed early, only about 90 seconds in. They cut the lead in half, make it 2-1. You have that little dance in front of the Notre Dame net.
Yeah, it was a ballet.
The only power play. But then it kind of cooled off.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the way I felt it up here. Frank, could you tell down there, was there a noticeable change in kind of the attitude in this building?
Well, it definitely went into a little bit of a lull after we had the skirmish in front. I think the referees kind of let both teams know that this is not a playoff game. We're not just going to let anything fly. They sent 2 off who started it all, and then they added the extra penalty for roughing. That was against, that was against Dixon. I just quickly want to add to, I just spoke with the on-call EMT. Romine will not be returning to this game. He has got the pads off with ice on the left shoulder, so expect to see DeBaradinas playing up with that first line still.
That's an interesting and
that
tough note.
Big.
Yeah, that's a big loss for the Blue Wave. Big loss. Wow. And then there was this stuff right down here below us, John, that didn't get.
I'm surprised.
And there were some punches being thrown.
They were punches. Yeah. There's no two ways about it.
Yep.
No two ways about it. Frank, could you hear what the officials said to the captains after that first skirmish?
So what they were explaining was the penalty situation to the captains. They were letting them know that they had 2 guys going coincidentally. They'd be serving 2-minute non-releasable minors. They'd have to wait for a whistle, and Darien had the extra one against Dixon. 2 minutes for roughing. He was the 3rd guy into the scrum. And so Notre Dame of Fairfield would go on to the power play, and that the face-off would be at the far end of the zone.
But did they caution them in terms of going forward?
No, there was no cautioning at that point in time. I think they made it very clear down right below you guys when they were still in the crease, saying that's enough. That's usually how that's usually the way things will go in a situation like this. But
yeah, when a guy wearing the vertical stripe says that's enough, it's usually a good idea to heed that advice.
But, I mean, what great intensity we had in that period. You had the costly turnover by Notre Dame at the blue line, and a great job by the senior captain, Knowlton, to be able to finish that puck and cut this lead in half. But this is a top 5 matchup in the state right now, and both these teams are playing like it's a playoff game. So I think the refs will let it go a little bit. They'll let them battle here, but if you see anything stupid, I would expect it to be called pretty tightly.
We talked between the first and second about the lack of quality chances for Darien. I think they had quite a few more in that second stanza.
No, they stepped it up in that stanza. Whatever Coach Bud said in the locker room after the first period definitely got through to them. They got on the attack a little bit, but credit Notre Dame-West Haven, who picked it up again later in the period, similar to the first. Now they have to kill off the final 42 seconds of this penalty from the second period due to the sloppy change. But it's been a very good back-and-forth game, and this next goal will be the biggest one without a doubt.
One thing to watch, I think, in this third period, we saw Notre Dame do it against New Canaan, and we've seen them do it a couple of times tonight, though not to that extent. If you get a little lackadaisical with one of those horizontal passes, they will pick it off, and they will make you pay.
Yeah, and they're very good at the stretch pass, too. That's something that Darien has done extremely well through their first 4 games. But if you're going to make sloppy plays around both blue lines right now, you're asking for problems moving forward in this game. We've seen 2 of the 3 goals have come, as I get a little company with me in the box here, 2 of the 3 goals have come off of misplayed turnovers right at their own blue lines and have led to opportunities going in.
Now you can come out at the next whistle, Frank.
He will be free to go with 42 seconds. I have to serve all 15 in the third period.
Boy, did you get in trouble. All right, Frank, we'll talk to you as the period goes along. Let's buckle up for period number 3, and away we go. It's a 2-1 game. Notre Dame up 1 as the Blue Wave chase here in the third. Power play for the Blue Wave. Along the right wing boards, it'll go into the right circle. Turned over, and the Knights will send it back out of the zone. So down it comes, Voigt out of his net, but instead he'll leave it for his captain, Sam Knowlton, back behind the net. Knowlton had a goal in the second. That cut it to 2-1. 13 remaining on the man advantage. Across the line they come, down into the right circle. Top of that right circle, scrumming for it there with Mullen. Mullen pushes it down. It goes behind the net with 3 and 2 remaining on the power play. Down to 1, it expires. We skated even strength. Each team 0 for 1 on the extra man. Pushed across the line into the Knight zone. They'll send it back. This is trouble in a one-on-one. Right circle, leaning for it, left behind, looking for a man in the slot, but the puck was not there. Back out to neutral zone ice. Again across the line. It's a 2-on-none for a moment. In the circle. Save made. Looking for another one and back out. Just off to the side of the slot in the circle. Another bad turn by the Blue Wave. Almost led to another 2-goal lead for the Knights. They come back. Deflected off Voigt. Goes into the right corner. Put out in front. Good chance there, but instead turned away by Hunter Hazelton of the Blue Wave. So they'll bring it back through the neutral zone, and Voigt, Scott that is, will go into the circle, go cross ice, and get it back out of the zone with Hunter Hazelton. Trying to move it across the line with Glassmeyer, through the neutral zone again. Coming over to grab it was Congdon, and make that Glassmeyer, and he does get it back out. Through the neutral zone, again, same combination. Here come the Knights. The Knights in a one-on-one through the neutral zone, now down through the slot into the left corner. 13:05 remaining third period. It's a 2-1 game. Puck was loose, thrown on net. Another try. It'll go behind the net. Oh, trying to set it up out in front in the slot. Throwing his body at it. Nice work by Owen Collins. Held in at the right point. Down behind the net it goes. 12:49 remaining in regulation. We've got a 2-1 game. Back out of the zone again. They'll lift it to get it across the line. They do. Knowlton waits there for Darien. Gets it out of the zone. Jake Kirby brings it across the line. Had his pocket picked. Cross ice it comes. Bounces off the boards. Taken by Ansaldo. Turned right back around by Solger. He gets across the line. Sends it. Dixon goes off to the left circle. 2.5 gone by in the third, and it's a 2-1 game. Into the right corner, Matthew McCormick, the senior forward. Again, behind the net with 12:15 to play. Out to the neutral zone. It's a 2-1 game. Thrown across the line. A lot of attention thrown to this broadcast tonight from the fine people of Notre Dame of West Haven. To that we say thank you very much, and we thank you all for joining us. Seemed like as the action began to pick up, so did people wanting to pay attention to the broadcast. So we're cool with that. Come on in and stay a while. In the right circle it goes. Just across the line, the big blast coming from the right point. It'll come along to the left wing boards. Whistled all the way down. Voigt will just play it off his stick as he dropped down to a knee. Lifts it back out of the zone. They'll get it across the line. Dixon hit hard at the point by Caliendo. Laying the wood there. It'll go behind the net with 11.5 to go. And climbing on top of it, Hilton as people are swinging at it and stopping things. So if you're new to the broadcast and you're new to the Darien Ice Rink, and again, we just want to point it out because we really strive to give you the best of everything that we can here. That's the gig. But you're looking through a net. You're looking from top to bottom. It's a challenging room for us, a challenging building for us to work in. So we make the best of it. Take the lemons, make some lemonade, put some ice in it, and I'm happy.
It's a unique view. You know you're watching a game from the Darien Ice Rink.
That's all. Which, as opposed to watching a game from the Dorothy Hamill rink, because we won't be doing it all. That's in Greenwich. We'll worry about that at another time. They'll bring it across the line down into the Darien zone, thrown through the crease. It'll come over to the left point. Held on there, trying to chip it in. They'll go over into the left corner. Over there to try to play is DeBerardinis, who has stepped up to that top line. Now it's in the circle to the slot, deflected again. Voigt throwing his body at it. Which one? In this case, it's Scott. Back out at the other end. They just throw it at the boards. Looking for a whistle. They got one. 10:57 to go. Third period. Offside the call.
I think Scott Voigt may have saved as many as his brother David thus far in this third period.
He has been good. He has been very good. Faceoff comes back out to neutral zone ice. Glassmeyer for the draw for Darien. He went up against Ansaldo. And the Blue Wave will bring it back into their own zone. They'll head over toward the left corner. Ansaldo was over there along with Kirby. Glassmeyer as well. Kirby grabs it. Kirby out of his own zone. Bounces off the boards. Heads down. Gets across the line. They're scrumming for it. There's a whistle. 10:38 to go third period. 2-1.
Is it a real late offsides?
Yes, sir. I'm glad you asked.
Glad I was right.
Face off to the dot over near Frank. Or to be exact, near the Notre Dame bench. But I liked saying Frank better. Off the face off, controlled by the Blue Wave. chopping at it. They'll throw it down into the Notre Dame zone. It'll head toward the back of the net, meaning behind the net, as they lift it near the Notre Dame bench, stopping things again.
Notre Dame has done it thus far in this third period, what Darien did to them for most of the first. Not let them out of the zone. They've kept them bottled up.
Face off to the left side of Hilton. Chant of Blue Wave hockey from the super fans to our left. Off the draw, heads down into the right corner. Pushing for it there. It's loose. They bring it through the neutral zone. Nope, it's going to stay in. Now it comes through the neutral zone and down toward Voigt as he watches it go for an icing. A little bit of a puddle just to the left side of Voigt's crease right here.
Oh, yeah, I see.
A little wet spot. So we'll set the face-off down in the Knight zone again, 10-12 to go. It'll go to the right side of Hilton. Off the draw, heads down into the corner. Now it'll head through the slot and brought back out to center. They'll play it off the boards. Darien able to redirect the puck. That time it was Hunter Hazelton. Now it's the Knights. The Knights go into the circle, but chipped at there by Knowlton, and they're able to clear the zone. Going back the other way is Glassmeyer through the neutral zone. Had Caliendo on top of him. No indication of a penalty. That will get the folks here in Darien just a little annoyed. Turn back the other way. They'll send it through the neutral zone. Hunter Hazelton again sends it back to neutral zone ice. So the Knights will bring it down. There was a point early in this game where you wondered if the Knights were going to ever see the Darien zone. Then things changed, and changed dramatically, and it's a 2-1 game. Solger lost his stick. He goes and grabs it, no harm. Down into the Knight zone it goes. It'll go behind the net. Heading off into that right corner, Dixon running a man up on the boards there. Looked like it was probably Connors, and it was. That's a big boy down there, one of the captains for Tim Belcher and the Knights. It'll come back out. An aggressive Voigt comes out and plays it from the circle all the way down. That is an icing with 9:02 to go.
I don't know that I've seen the goalie called for icing in a while.
Frank, how many times have you seen goalie icing?
Not since Marty Berdor's been firing at the net before he retired.
Yeah, that's about right.
And Rob, you alluded to the puddle to the side of Voigt's net. We saw the puck getting stuck a couple times early on in this period, created a couple opportunities for both teams. Ice was real wet after the Zamboni run in between periods.
Face off to the left side of Voigt, and stopping us again with 9:01 to go. Need to catch your breath for a moment?
Just taking it in.
The picture's looking great, as called up by Eric Gendron tonight. Dave Stewart to our left, Bill Bloxham to our far left, and A.J. Simonowski, just A.J. Simonowskiing to the far right. In between is Marty Hersom, tweeting, commenting, and doing that thing he does. As it comes back behind the net, John Kovac to my right, Frank Granito down at ice side. It's a good one here. 2-1 with 8:45 to go. This will get lifted into the bench.
Yeah, if we could get more than 15 seconds or so of action at one clip.
It would be nice.
It's been a great game so far. Befitting of two top 5 teams.
I agree with that. I knew you'd like that.
Oh, yeah.
Cross ice it comes. I'll try to explain what it was. I just pulled up a picture, came off of Twitter that I knew John would like. Goes down into the right corner, 8.5 to go. John and I not that far apart in age, so he and I get most of these references. Held in at the left point now. Through the circle. On net, and the save made as Mullen able to make trouble out in front for Hilton, but Hilton up to the task with 8:20 to go.
Hilton sliding from his right to left, just pulls that into his chest, and then he ends up with Max
DeBaradinas?
Yeah, that on top of him.
Face off to the left side, you're welcome, of Hilton. It's the NFL Magnetic Standings Boards retweeted by @Super70 Sports. So those old NFL magnets that go onto this metal board, and you could arrange the standings of the NFL or with the NFC and the AFC. Oh, they were things of beauty.
3 divisions.
That's when you lived for the NFL stuff in the Sears Christmas catalog.
Oh, yes.
Down the boards it goes, all the way across the line. There's the whistle and the icing. I was showing, actually, sometimes you'll see these catalog pictures get tweeted out, and I showed AJ and some of the other guys what we used to do for football jerseys in the 70s and 80s. You had these, in my case, it was a black shirt that said Steelers in block numbers and a number on the front and back.
I had the aqua that said Dolphins.
There you go. It was brutal, but it was beautiful. Face off to the left side of Hilton. It'll come back into the neutral zone. 7:50 to go. It's a 2-1 game. Cross ice it goes. Hazelton brings it across the line as they work it back into the neutral zone. And again, down the right wing side in a 2-1 game with 7:40 to go. Back behind the net with Hazelton into the left corner. Left corner again. Played beyond the end line. It'll come back behind the net, and they'll work it over into the right corner. Now over there to play it is Owen Collins, but it'll be held in. Deflected off Collins. Nice play to get his body out in front of it. They'll send it down into the left corner. Again, in that left corner, it'll go behind the net. Taken by Knowlton. Knowlton will start to skate back out. From bottom to top goes Darien in the white with the blue. Down the left wing side of the left circle to go into the left corner. They'll bring it over now to the top of the right circle. Dixon, backhanded, out in front. It'll go off to the far side. Now Scott Voigt throws it down on net. They chip at it all. They bring it into the left circle. No, it goes behind the net, off the boards, and kept in by Congdon. Now bringing it back through the neutral zone, down to 6:53 to go in the third period. It's taken back by Voigt. Voigt plays catch with Congdon. Congdon off the board, sends it down. That's an icing with 6:44 to go.
We're seeing very aggressive forechecking by Notre Dame, keeping Darien pinned in, keeping the puck along the boards, just trying to get it out to somebody in the slot and hoping to get back to 2 goals up.
Faceoff will come down to the left side of David Voigt. It'll be Solger for the Blue Wave. As he goes up against Ansaldo, faceoff win for the Blue Wave. Penalties have been minimal, as I started to say. Down goes a man. He jumps right back up on his skates for the Blue Wave. That was Ben Brown. Goes behind the net with 6.5 to go. Side of the right circle. They'll play it there, trapped up along those boards with 6:25 remaining. This will come back out of the zone, just kind of bounce around and come across the line. There's the icing with 6:20 remaining.
I think there have been more icings in the first 8 minutes and 40 seconds of this period than we'd seen all night.
I agree. Yep.
And it's really disrupting the flow of what's been a great hockey game.
Faceoff will come to the left side of Hilton in the Notre Dame zone. 6:20 remaining. Off the draw, it was Mullen there for the Blue Wave. Knowlton keeps it in at the right point, bounces down beyond the end line. The Blue Wave 4-0 on the year, but they're in a little bit of trouble right now, chasing one with 6:09 remaining. Held in at the left point, it bounces around, and it's Hazelton to keep it in just across the line as it bounced parallel. Comes back out of the zone, so Knowlton will backhand it across, and it'll be turned back by the Knights. The Knights get it across the line. The first goal of the night was scored by Maselli. He had it. It's brought back and sent across the line. Right wing side it goes, down through the circle, trickling loose. Goes to the left circle now, 5:43 remaining. Back they come in a 2-on-2 as the Blue Wave try to get things set up defensively. They go for a change. Down into the corner they go, 5.5 remaining. Bounce it back out to center, taken by Hazelton, Herbie Hazelton, trying to get across the line, and then he's joined in the conversation by DeBerardinis. 5:25 remaining in the third period. Scott Voigt in his own zone. Now it'll be turned back by Kirby. Kirby of the Blue Wave goes through the neutral zone, steps across the line with a tough hit by Caliendo at the left point. They'll go around the boards with 5:10 remaining. Good crowd on hand tonight, some on the perimeter, and the whistle stopping things with 5:06 to go as the puck was in the glove of Hilton.
Little bit of traffic that he had to contend with to make that glove save, really snagging it like a first baseman, but with 2 guys jostling for position just inches from his mitt.
Face-off will come to the left side now of Hilton with 5:06 remaining. Glassmeyer for sure for the Blue Wave on the draw, and it'll be Driscoll for the Knights. They settle back in, put the puck down, and they tangle right at the very dot in the circle. Bring it back through the neutral zone with 4:59 to go. Get it across the Darien line, but it's the Wave who've got it with Kirby. Kirby lifts it out, rides it just along the boards. It'll go down the left wing side. Send it to the right side, held in at that right point, trying to keep it in. The Wave could not do so. So here come the Knights. Across the line came Ansaldo. Now Ansaldo throws it down the right side. Left to the side of the cage by Voigt. Now Scott Voigt will send it to center. Had it get away from Ben Brown. Down the right side it goes to Maleo with 4:25 remaining. Back out of the zone, Ansaldo able to play it, but the Blue Wave will take it into their own zone. Hunter Hazelton back to center. They fan at it through the neutral zone again. Things starting to get desperate with 4:12 to go. Down the right side goes Salger. Salger into the circle. Goes loose off toward the left circle in the left corner with McCormick for the Knights. 4:02 remaining in regulation. It's a 2-1 game. Whistling around to the right wing side. Held along the right boards. They try to throw a stick at it. It was Ben Brown. Out of the zone it comes Hunter Hazelton. Bounces it off the boards in the neutral zone. A Knight there to throw it down the right side, and Voigt will come out of his own net to play it. Behind the net goes Hunter Hazelton. Hazelton back out to center, but chipped out there by a Knight who throws it right back down. That in that case was Catarano. 3.5 remaining in the third period. Coming down on net, Voigt able to make the save with the pads. Off to the right side, went through the crease, comes over to the left wing, right wing boards, our left perspective. Down the left wing it goes into the Knight zone with 3:19 remaining in a 2-1 game. Along that right corner, out of the zone it comes. Out of the Knights' end, they'll stop, waiting, throw it across the line with Scott Voigt, the senior defenseman. Down the left wing, Caliendo into the corner. 3:05 remaining on the right wing. Right circle now Hazelton. Hazelton, and out it comes. Chance for something here as it's brought back by Catarano. Catarano goes to the circle, though, and is taken off the play by Scott Voigt. They'll head toward the right corner. It's Voigt there to play it. And Saldo on the turnover. And Saldo along the end line. Now it'll come into the circle, and it'll be sent back out by DeBaradinas with 2:42 to go. Right side, into the circle. There's a trip, but no call. Seemed clean. Heads down into the right corner with Hazelton. Herbie Hazelton in the right circle. Now Knowlton with 2.5 remaining. Goes behind the net. Right along the end line it goes. There's a man without a stick. He just kind of kicks at it in the left side. Looked like it might have been Matt Murrow. It was. Trickling down with 2:20 remaining. It's a 2-1 game. Big blast coming from the top of the right circle. And everything stops and holds on with 2:14 to play.
Good job by Murrow chasing the play into the corner without a stick, using his feet to keep the puck alive, his body to keep the offense at bay.
Face-off will come to the left side. Would you use your timeout here with 2:14 to go?
I might.
Mac Budd right now holding on to it. It's at the left side of Hilton. Glassmeyer on the draw for the Wave. Goes off to the left side boards. Thrown down, it'll bounce around and pinball into that left corner. Head down behind the net with 2:05 remaining. Down to 2:03 now. Heading over, Glassmeyer, he sends it back behind the net. Knowlton will come over into the left corner. 1:55 remaining. Voigt in net, obviously, for now, as it bounces off a defender. Goes down back behind the cage. 2-1, Notre Dame of West Haven on top. Heading over toward that left corner. Knowlton able to keep it in, just redirects it and sends it down into the corner. Held in at the right point, this time by Hunter Hazelton, but out of the zone it goes. 1:35 remaining, cross ice. Buckle up and fasten your seatbelts. Across the line, it's left for Kirby. Kirby, a wrister that goes, well, not quite into the net, and it'll come out of the zone. So they'll spin it right back through the neutral zone with just about 80 seconds remaining. Back into the Darien zone is Hunter Hazelton. Goes cross ice, Sam Knowlton. It only takes one, but they've got to get it out of the zone with 1:12 to go. Bounce it off the boards and across the line to Baradinas. Down the left wing side into the corner, heading behind the net. 1:04 remaining. Puck loose behind the net. Goes to the side of the right circle. Left behind there, waiting through traffic. Down to the net it goes. Voigt gone. Down into the right corner with 55 remaining. It's a 2-1 game. Right wing side played in the corner. Liam Hilton over there for the Knights. The Knights able to bring it back out. They'll turn it around with Ansaldo. Ansaldo able to lift it down, but a Blue Wave able to grab it. It's Scott Voigt. 40 seconds remaining in a 2-1 game. Plays it back out to center. Jake Kirby gains the line. Stopping. put it down. It goes behind the net. Down to a half minute remaining in a 2-1 game, and the puck whistles wide. Now the puck comes over into the left corner. Blue Wave got the extra skater on, throwing traffic out in front again, and again redirected all the way down it goes. Will not find the cage, icing with 18.8 to go.
Did not miss by much, a little less than a foot. It looks like we're going to have a penalty here.
Nothing yet. Frank, what do you have?
Well, Mullen's going to go here. Oh. No, he's not. Mullen is not going to go, and Notre Dame of West Haven is absolutely furious. Expect Darien to take a timeout here, but Mullen has been visually frustrated since he had that shot get robbed in the slot, slammed his stick at that point in time, just took a couple extra shots after the whistle there. Darien getting to them a little bit here, being in this kind of situation for the first time.
They're getting the puck toward the net. They're not getting it really on net.
No, Notre Dame's done a tremendous job of putting themselves in between the puck and the goal. And, Hilton has been tremendous in this third period, getting a good job of any kind of shot that gets deflected and getting on him. But I agree, Jake Kirby that last shift must have had 4 or 5 opportunities. I don't think he put one that was on the cage.
No, they're throwing it in that general direction, but through either not having somebody close to redirect it or really good defense, particularly by Connors and Muro and Caliendo.
Well, in this situation now, what Darien has got to be thinking, if you win this draw, you've got 2 guys at least in front of the net. They've got to be going hard to the net. This shot should be low and hard, trying to create a rebound. They've sent too many into the glass or into Conlon's glove here. Throw one down low, see if you can create a little bit of a scrum and catch a bounce to go your way.
Yeah, somebody's got to set up shop right in front of the crease and not move. They've got to grow roots there and be there to disrupt it.
Voigt, Kirby, Hazelton, Knowlton, Glassmeyer looks like the group that has come out for Darien. Those were the numbers I was able to get. Face off to the left side of Hilton. Controlled by the Blue Wave 16 seconds ago. This will come all the way down again. Icing whistled. 13 to play. Hilton certainly on with Ansaldo among the numbers that I can grab. Of course, Connor Hilton still in net. Liam Hilton still on. Face-off goes to the left side of Connor Hilton. 13.1 remaining. Now the officials reset things. And there will be 2 new skaters for the draw.
Second time tonight we've seen both thrown.
So over comes Riley Mullen for the face-off. Comes out of the zone with 10 to go. Now the Blue Wave in big trouble, down to 7. Maybe time for a final rush. Bouncing it out to center. Chipping at it, but it's turned back. Thrown at the empty net, and there you go. With 0.1 remaining. And now things getting chippy as Herbie Hazelton has gone and climbed into a skirmish out in front of the Notre Dame net. With 0.1 remaining, Notre Dame of West Haven is going to get a 3-1 win, but you don't want it to end like this.
I have to think there's guys that are not going to be playing in the next game after this. This got going almost a full-bore fight. An official prone on the ice trying to get between 2 of them.
Scott Voigt has headed out the door. And with that, they're going to whistle it done. There was 0.1 remaining. They'll take the second off, and the game is over.
And quite the celebration in the far end by the Green Knights of Notre Dame of West Haven.
Well, it will certainly change some of the balance of power in the state right now. And you never expect there to be any trouble during the handshake. At that point, things begin to calm down. But nonetheless, I learned a long time ago to always take a glance back and make sure everything is kosher.
As a coach, I will tell you that you always, and it's not.
And it's not. There they go again. And now you hear coaches yelling, get off the ice. And Darien is sent packing as well. You can hear more of it, get off the ice. the yelling and the screaming. And now the coach is starting to go at it a bit. Tim Belcher and Mac Budd not happy with one another, and the yelling continues out at center ice. Very unique.
Yeah, you don't often see this. And you've got to figure there are going to be repercussions coming out of this.
As people have walked away, now I feel more comfortable turning the microphone up to let Frank talk. Frank, what did you hear?
Well, it started after the last goal. There was a scrum on the ice that happened late. The Notre Dame-West Haven coach and Darien coaches were screaming over the glass at each other. They were clearly frustrated. A couple of the Darien players were standing in front of the Notre Dame-West Haven bench and chirping the players. And it looked like Mullen just finally lost his cool, like we talked about. Went after one of the Notre Dame players in the handshake line after it had all been settled out. But high tensions here after the big win by Notre Dame-West Haven.
Quite a scene, and they're continuing to talk things over.
And it looks like they're not going to have the final answers on what penalties will be signed out. The referees have requested that both coaches will come meet in the locker room and they can discuss what the repercussions will be. But I do agree with what you guys said. I would expect that at least one or two players might be sitting out the next game.
Frank, did they give you any details on that final goal?
They did not, and I think it was number 24,
okay.
Palalio. Let me ask right now. Hold on one second.
All right. While Frank gets that information, we'll take a break. We'll regroup. We'll come back to the Darien Ice Rink. Quite a scene here tonight. Final score, Notre Dame-West Haven 3, Darien 1. We'll come back and put a wrap on it after this. You're watching the FCIAC on the HAN Network.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your local destination for the best of the holidays. Shop Stewart's for the freshest produce, certified prime rib roasts, magnolia wreaths, fresh baked pies, gingerbread houses, Christmas candies, and the season's best wine and craft brews right next door at Stewart's Spirits. Shop Walter Stewart's, 229 Elm Street in New Canaan, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
Well, fight night, hockey night. This one over. Final score, 3-1. Notre Dame of West Haven beats Darien with John Kovac. I'm Rob Adams. Now, let's be honest. It didn't turn that bad, but for a high school game,
for a high school
chippy.
game, it was that bad.
Yeah, it got chippy, and it got the yelling and the screaming between certainly maybe not head coaches, but members of the staff were yelling at each other. So we saw the two coaches shake hands at the very bitter end when they went to kind of address the scorecard. But this was something tonight, and this is going to be a story to follow.
A very hot ending, and it was the head coaches. We're going back and forth with the referees between them. I don't know how many people are going to sit, but as we were saying during the break, essentially there were 3 fights here tonight.
Yeah.
The only one that gets called as such is the one after the empty net goal that gives Notre Dame of West Haven a 3-1 win over previously unbeaten Darien.
Frank, you had the view down ice side. I would think there's got to be, as we keep saying, but you had probably the best view of all of us. I would think there's got to be repercussions out of this.
Well, based on what we saw tonight, I might think that Darien next game could possibly be without Hazelton, Mullen, and Romine based off the injury now. Hazelton was in the original scrum after the empty net was shot down, and we saw the fight down in the Notre Dame of West Haven zone with .1 to go. Mullen the fight in the handshake line. We mentioned earlier how he had been clearly frustrated and was There were Notre Dame and West Haven players who knew he was frustrated and were trying to get under his skin, and they clearly succeeded down the stretch. But we talked about what would happen if Notre Dame got up and how would this Darien team respond, and probably not what you want to see against their first time of adversity.
And after that first skirmish on the empty net goal, remember, Scott Voigt was sent off the ice before the handshake line. So you wonder what the call is there.
That's correct. Voigt came in late, so Hazelton was the first member in there. Voigt came in and jumped over the top to get in with the pile there, and that was when the Notre Dame West Haven coach and Darien coaches started screaming at each other. It was number 12 for Darien, that's Edward Glassmeyer. The Notre Dame West Haven coach said he was standing in front of the Notre Dame bench and yelling at players, and that's what was about. And I think he may have been involved as well in the handshake line. He might have been the other one. There was one skirmish closer to the Notre Dame blue line before Mullins' incident came out, but
and we've got replay here of the skirmish. This is in the handshake line. Now it's over now. The game's over. It's gentlemanly, and you can see a little bit. There's the push.
That was Hunter Hazelton, 17, for Darien. Now, I didn't catch the Notre Dame player, and then it just kind of fell apart from there.
Can you back that up, Eric? Because it looks like there's a haymaker thrown when two guys get to each other. It's bottom right of the screen.
And look, we have a responsibility to give you the right number and, not take guesses and throw names out here. So if Eric can send it back, we will. But that's what started there during that handshake line, and then the yelling and screaming. And you can see the coach is very demonstrative, certainly the members of the Notre Dame staff who are barking, that because we have the perspective of seeing their face, and that was a big play in it. Now, here we go again through the line. Great work by Eric to re-rack this, as we say. There you go. There's the shove.
Now, bottom right of the screen, you're going to see a haymaker. It's all right there. You see a helmet come loose, and there the fists start going.
Yep.
And that's Riley Mullen in there.
Yep, Mullen in the middle of that.
He comes away without a helmet, so you would have to think he took a shot from somebody.
I thought I saw a 9 in the midst of the Notre Dame stuff, but again, I don't want to be irresponsible, so that was what I thought I saw. I'll leave it at that.
And what a shame it is, too. We had such a great hockey game tonight. Both teams truly played unbelievably. It was high-paced. It was playoff intensity. Two of the top 5 teams in the state. And you hate to see it end in such a way, but what a great game. And congrats to Notre Dame and West Haven. And now Darien goes back to the drawing board and has to figure out how they bounce back after this loss.
Yeah, and it's a tough loss for them for sure. Now, for Notre Dame of West Haven, next up for them, they see St. Joseph, and that's not a cakewalk. St. Joe's has been pretty good as well. That's a Wednesday game up at the Bennett Rink. And then they've got Prep on Saturday, and by that I mean Fairfield Prep, Glastonbury to follow, and then Xavier. Right. So not an easy stretch for Notre Dame of West Haven. Now for the Blue Wave, we take a look at their schedule, and again, with the loss here tonight, they have a good game against West Haven on the 12th, then West Hill Stanford on the 16th. But they have a lot of time to lick their wounds.
8 days they've got before they take the ice again, coming off their first. They're going to be itching to get on the ice.
And I'll tell you who's going to be itching as well. On Monday the 18th at the Dorothy Hamill Rink at 3:30. I'll tell you, if I had an opening on my dance card, I would want to go watch Darien and Greenwich play at the very least.
That's a good game.
That'll be a good game. And you're going to learn things about Darien very soon, if not now.
Well, right now we're trying to learn what the situation is in terms of players and penalties. We're hoping to get that information, so we're going to drag it out a little bit here. Maybe even, do we want to take a step out for a second?
That seems like a prudent thing to do, so we will pause for a break. We're going to stay for an extra moment as we try to get some of the information about what has transpired here tonight. If we can get it, we will let you know before we say goodnight. At the very least, we should have something that we could tweet to you before we leave this building. But pause for a break. Stay with us. We'll come back. The post-game show continues after a fascinating 3-1 Notre Dame of West Haven win over the Darien Blue Wave. You're watching the FCIAC on the HAN Network.
Well, there's still a bite out on the water. Most anglers have decided to stow the gear for the winter. Just because Mother Nature isn't cooperating doesn't mean you can't see the latest models of all your favorite gear. With 2 convenient locations, it couldn't be easier to get your fix of summer. Boater, beach bum, fisherman, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport, or on the web, dockshop.com.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email Jessica at...
Welcome back to Darien. With that quick break, we can tell you the following. We have no information. Nothing yet. They're still sorting it out in the locker room. So what it comes down to is follow Twitter, HAN Network. We can give you everything right there. We'll get the information out there. HAN Network CT on Twitter, to be exact. We'll get stuff as soon as we know, and we can tweet it out and, of course, check for it online.
Right. Watch for it online. We're going to start to wrap the broadcast up. A 3-1 victory for Notre Dame of West Haven. The first loss of the year for the Darien Blue Wave. No need to panic. It's a long season.
Oh, absolutely. Do you see anything positive out of this kind of, I'm going to use the word aggressive, and folks, it's lack of a better word. Do you see anything good coming out of this kind of aggressive behavior tonight, Frank?
I think it's good for Darien to have been in this type of game. You probably don't want the extracurriculars to have been a part of it, and God forbid if there's any suspensions that come down from it, you don't want that. But you've got about another 10 days or so, maybe 2 weeks of interconference play going on within the state, where you'll have the top 15, top 10 teams of the state playing against each other before you get into your true conference schedule. So it's good to get into this kind of a game. You get a feel for who you have to play when you get later into the season and what it's going to take to win a game like this.
But you also learn that you have to keep your cool. You cannot lose it. You need to stay calm. You're going to come into tough games now, particularly Notre Dame, and they're going to be missing players. Darien's got 8 days off, and then they're going to go into
a big game against West Haven.
West Haven, and they're going to be short guys.
You would assume, yeah.
And let this be, and that's exactly right. This is a teaching moment for the players as well as for first-year Coach Bud now.
And Tim Belcher, the Notre Dame coach, just went outside. He went outside. He was led out by a Darien police officer.
Interesting.
So he got a police escort out, I'm assuming, so that he can get to the bus without any incident.
Well, most people are out of the building. That doesn't mean there are people still lingering outside, and that's not to imply one thing or another, just reporting what we know and what we can see. The fans are all gone here. Who's outside, I have no idea.
Right, you don't know.
With all that said, we will carry on. We will say goodnight, and we will rejoin you tomorrow morning. And again, coffee break, we'll have more for you there. And then Don and I, perhaps I can wrangle John to come on, or Frank as well, perhaps for Nutmeg Sports. We can talk a little more about this situation tomorrow. Dave Stewart, who's up here tonight as well, will be along on Wednesday. So we'll have this covered for you tomorrow here on the HAN Network. Gentlemen, good stuff tonight. And look, as you said, let's not let this mar what was a good game.
No, it was a great game tonight. Well played by both teams, and great for the sport moving forward. Looking forward to the postseason as we get deeper and deeper.
Add some intrigue.
I'm looking forward to seeing these two teams again.
I agree. Let's hope it happens. That'll do it from the Darien Ice Rink. Once again, the final score 3-1 in favor of Notre Dame of West Haven. They improved to 5-1 on the year. Darien now falls to 4-1. On this season as we really hit the quarter point in this 2015-2016 season. Coffee break, get your day started tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and then Donald Eng and I will have Nutmeg Sports for you at 2 o'clock. The Drive with Denise comes along at 12:30 as well. Goals on the night, Mazzelli, Palillo, Knowlton, and Palillo with the empty netter at 14:59, 3-1 the final score. For our entire crew here at the Darien Ice Rink, Marty Hersom, Dave Stewart, Bill Bloxham, AJ Simonowski, Eric Gendron directing, Frank Granito ice side, John Kovach up here in the booth with me. I'm Rob Adams. The final score, Notre Dame of West Haven 3, Darien 1. Good night from a feisty Darien Ice Rink.
The preceding has been a presentation of the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, and entertainment in Fairfield and Westchester counties. This is the HAN Network, the leader for local news, sports, arts, and entertainment in southwestern Connecticut and beyond.